I wake up early to catch all the light in one day. I go out barefoot. The concrete's not warm yet. I can stay. The tears of the night from each blade of grass. I think of you and I laugh at how foolish I am to worry. Oh, now as then, now as then. We're all up. Breakfast. Let's tackle that cookbook and make a mess. Let's go out. Sunshine. Shorts and sandals, it's playtime. A song in my chest. And we dream of the next game to play. I think of you in amazement, how you bring my dreams to life. Oh, now as then, now as then. In the sky, I think of you and remember there will always be a light to see by.
Change the world. You can raise a bar with a little time and a big, big heart. You can change the world. You can raise a bar. It's all about a little smile. A little inch turns into a mile. It's all about a helping hand. Try it once, you'll understand. With a little time and a big, big heart, you can change the world. You can raise a bar. With a little time
Para las personas que prefieren escuchar esta junta en español, pueden pasar con nuestro equipo de intérpretes al fondo de la sala del Concilio de la Ciudad para recibir asistencia. También pueden sintonizar la transmisión de las juntas del Concilio completamente en español usando el sistema SAP a través de los canales que ve en pantalla. Si prefiere ver la transmisión desde un dispositivo móvil o para descargar la agenda de la junta de hoy, visite la página web de la Ciudad de San Antonio, sa.gov/TVSA.
Good morning. The time is now 9:01 a.m. on December 11th, 2025, and the meeting of the San Antonio City Council is now called to order. Madam Clerk, please call roll.
Councilmember Corr. Councilmember McKee Rodriguez. Councilmember Villagran.
Here.
Councilmember Munguia.
Present.
Councilmember Castillo.
Here.
Councilmember Galvan.
Here.
Councilmember Alderete Gavito.
Here.
Councilmember Mesa Gonzalez. Councilmember Spears. Councilmember White. Here. Mayor Jones.
Here.
Mayor, we have quorum.
Great, thank you. I'd like to recognize Council Member Alderete Gavito to introduce today's invocator.
Thank you, Mayor. Today, I am honored to welcome Father Jorge Haro from St. Luke's Catholic Church in District 7 to lead our invocation. Father Jorge is a Catholic priest and was ordained on May 14, 2022. He is a member of the Missionaries of the Holy Spirit, a religious congregation dedicated to fostering spiritual renewal, pastoral service, and community accompaniment. Father Jorge was born in St. Nicolas, Jalisco, Mexico, and raised in a bilingual Mexican-American household. He holds a bachelor's degree in philosophy and religious studies from Mount Angel Seminary in Oregon, and a Master of Divinity from the Oblate School of Theology here in San Antonio. At St. Luke's, Father Jorge is known for his vibrant pastoral leadership, his dedication to parish families, and his commitment to outreach ministries. His outreach work includes homebound visits, community events, and initiatives to strengthen unity and faith. He is actively involved in creative community engagement, educational formation, and supporting the well-being of parishioners throughout the west side of San Antonio. Father Jorge, thank you so much for your service to the community and for being here with us today. I'll turn it over to you.
All right. Let me invite you to take a deep breath. If you want, close your eyes. Let us give thanks to God for the gift of life, for allowing us to be here another day. Heavenly Father, as we gather this morning, we acknowledge your loving providence over the city of San Antonio and all who dwell here. We humbly ask you to send forth your Holy Spirit, the spirit of wisdom, counsel, and understanding upon our mayor, our council members, and all who serve in positions of leadership. May the Holy Spirit guide their deliberations, strengthen their resolve to pursue the common good, and inspire in them a deep respect for the dignity of every person. We commend to your care the people of our city, our families, our elderly, our children, the poor, the vulnerable, and all who labor to build a community marked by justice, peace, and compassion. Through the intercession of Mary, Our Lady of Guadalupe, Mother of the Americas, whose feast we are about to celebrate, and St. Anthony of Padua, patron of our city and faithful witness to the gospel, may we let our unity, understanding, and authentic service. May your grace, flowing through the power of the Holy Spirit, accompany the work undertaken in this chamber today, and may your blessing rest upon all who are present. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Thank you, Father. Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. There are no minutes to approve this week. We also do not have any ceremonials, so we'll move on to the points of personal privilege. District 7 is recognized.
Thank you. Today, I'm so delighted to honor District 7 resident and longtime friend Edward Eddie Arguello for his many contributions to business, culture, music, and civic life in San Antonio. His story is so inspiring that it's being brought to the screen in collaboration with actor, writer, and producer Jamie P. Gomez in the upcoming film Barrio Dogs, The Life and Times of Edward Eddie Arguello, Every Man is a Superman, now in post-production. For more than 6 decades, Eddie has been deeply involved in our community. In the late 1950s, he founded AAA Records, an independent label that went on to publish over 70 songs. Among them were major hits such as 96 Tears and Midnight Hour by Question Mark and the Mysterians. 96 Tears was later covered by Bruce Springsteen and Aretha Franklin. His records under the AAA label have become highly sought after by collectors around the world, with some selling for as much as $2,500. In addition, his achievements in the music industry, Eddie has a successful career in leadership and business. He served as facility management director for CPS Energy, overseeing multi-million-dollar facilities and projects. He also led his own company, Northwest Paint and Carpet Center, where he created jobs and opportunities for many folks throughout our city. Eddie has always believed in supporting political leaders whom he felt could shape San Antonio's future. He helped with campaigns for Congressman Henry B. Gonzalez, as well as several distinguished judges and other officials who served within our community with distinction. He has also been an amazing supporter of mine, which I'm so grateful for. The very first time I met their family, they were all in, and that meant so much to me. One of the highlights of his civic involvement was serving as an official member of the Papel Despedida Farewell Subcommittee during the 1987 papal visit to San Antonio. He worked with local businesses to ensure the success of Pope John Paul's II Farewell Procession, a historic event that brought the city together in faith and unity. Earlier this month, Eddie contributed his music memorabilia to Totally Tejano Museum, which opened its doors this past weekend on Fredericksburg Road. His memories and achievements are now on display for San Antonians to enjoy for years to come. I can't wait to visit the museum and to see the documentary when it comes out. Eddie turns 89 years old next Tuesday and continues to be an inspiration to those who know him. His lifelong dedication to our city has left a lasting mark on San Antonio. Thank you, Eddie, for your many contributions to the city, and happy birthday. And I also do want to recognize that this family also travels in packs. It's so nice to see when I'm out at the election site, a whole car will come in, and it's just so nice to greet this beautiful, beautiful family with hugs, and all of it, definitely stems from you, Mr. Arguello. So thank you so much for being here today, and we have this certificate to do. But if you don't mind standing so we can give you a round of applause. Thank you.
Excuse me. Councilmember White, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, today I want to share the exciting news again that we saw from a couple of weeks ago when we had the introductory press conference. But it's an exciting opportunity for San Antonio with the upcoming Texas Space Summit, which is going to take place on September 21st through September 23rd of next year. The Texas Space Summit will bring together industry leaders, policymakers, and innovators to chart the next frontier, strengthening Texas's role in the commercial space economy and building the supply chain to power the nation's future and beyond. The gathering will turn mission-critical ideas into high-quality jobs and investment across our state. We've talked about this for a while. San Antonio is really well positioned to lead this effort. We already have world-class assets in aerospace, cybersecurity, advanced manufacturing, and education right here in our city. The summit's going to showcase that strength and highlight how our city can continue expanding its footprint in space and defense-related innovation. It's also a signal that Texas is going to continue to lead the nation in space economy and in shaping policy that will build a robust Texas-based space supply chain. I want to close by saying how grateful I am to the Greater San Antonio Chamber for leading this effort, in particular its chair, Jeff Webster. Events like this are really going to help elevate our city's profile, attract investment, and create pathways for high-paying jobs here in San Antonio. They're also going to strengthen our partnerships with the military, private sector, and our local universities. And so I think I saw Jeff here in the audience. If you want to come up and say a few words, and we appreciate our Texas Space Summit shirts that you got us.
Thank you, Councilman. Mayor, thank you for attending the press conference and being there, and a couple of the council members were there with kind of quick notice. This is an exciting event, and I'm Jeff Webster. I'm the president and CEO of the Greater San Antonio Chamber. Joining me today is Tim Farrell, who leads our effort into space, running the committee for us, and Katie Ferrier, who many of you see around City Hall addressing public policy issues. Real quick, I want to take up time, but we did this because the state of Texas was looking for somebody to take on this challenge. The Greater Chamber took this on not as a chamber event, but as an event for San Antonio to support the great state of Texas. We are being led, our chairman of our board of advisors is Adam Hamilton, the CEO of Southwest Research Institute. We have about 50 people on the board. This would not be just a state event, this will be an international event. So thank you. We'll be encouraging and reaching out to all of you to participate. We'll have elements that will include our youth into STEM and how to engage them in the part of the conference. But thank you to the city for being a willing partner and helping us out make this the successful event. We expect up to 2,000 attendees to this conference in just a year from now. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoy your shirts. They're in front of you with the new logo of the Texas Space Summit. And thank you very much for the support of the city of San Antonio. Thank you.
And Jeff, there's a website set up, right?
Yes, there is. TexasSpaceSummit.com. Already active, already taking registrants, already taking sponsors. This is a huge event for San Antonio. It'll give us a chance to show off our economic development and our investment into this market. So thank you very much, guys. Wish you all the best of holidays. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman White. Jeff, let me reiterate some of the comments I made that morning. Thank you for your leadership on this issue. It was great to welcome members of the Texas Space Commission to our city. And as frankly somebody who spent their entire career in national security, space is decisive. Space is decisive, both from a military context, but also from an economic context. And so I remember having breakfast not too long ago with TJ Cox, who is now leading Texas Cyber Command right here in San Antonio. So it is quite fitting that Military City USA, the home of Texas Cyber Command, will in fact host this Texas Space Summit. The linkages between space and cyber are undeniable. It also made me think, actually, during the trip last week to Mexico, when we were thinking about the USMCA review, right, which I know the Chamber and many other business partners will play a key role in as we look to ensure that that trade deal continues to pay disproportionate dividends to our community. It's not just about protecting the supply chains that we have now, Toyota, et cetera, but also thinking about those advanced manufacturing sectors to include space, by the way, that we've got to make sure we continue to reduce barriers to ensure that we naturally are taking advantage of not only the lines of communication, but also the 99,000 members of our community that currently work in manufacturing, the 10,000 cyber professionals that are part of our cyber presence here, the second largest out of Washington, D.C., all of which make us competitive not only to host a summit, right? Not only to host a summit, but to make sure that we have a say and have a significant proportion of the space manufacturing that will have to be done. Those aren't just good jobs. Those are also key to the city's contribution to the defense industrial sector. So thank you again. As you point out, this is more than just a summit. It is really our opportunity to talk about San Antonio's unique role today and in the future when it comes to space manufacturing. Thank you. We've got another point of privilege from D7. Go ahead.
Thank you. And I did quickly want to invite Mr. Arguello to come up and say a few words if you wanted to. Sorry to close that out before another point of personal privilege. This is a big celebration. It's a big day.
Thank you to all City Council person. Lady Mayor, thank you. I just want to say It's been a long, long road. Most of my contributions have been because of the love that I have for the city. And everything that I have accomplished for, or tried to, for my 9 kids. I have a family of 9, beautiful wife, who is responsible for everything that I've done. So I want to thank you for the recognition. Councilwoman Alderete, thank you very much. Appreciate it. And thank you, the City Council. Thank you, the City of San Antonio. As it continues to grow, I'll continue to do the best to support everything that I can do to help our city prosper and look better. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I also am so proud today to recognize City Education Partners for a decade of local K-12 education. If y'all don't mind coming to the podium. Joining us from City Education Partners today are CEO Dalia Flores Contreras, Julian Duran, Chief Investments and Operations Officer, Gladys Hernandez, Director of Talent, Lizette Ekman, Executive Assistant, and Jennifer Limas Mota, Director of Advocacy and Communications. There are also several board members here with us today. Thank you all for being here. City Education Partners was founded in 2015 by a coalition of local visionaries. The nonprofit emerged in response to an urgent question. What if every San Antonio student, especially those in historically underinvested communities, had access to an education that prepares them for a choice-filled life? That vision continues to guide City Education Partners' essential work today. As an education champion, this organization connects the dots between school quality, talent, policy, and parent power, building bridges between traditionally siloed systems. With great schools as its North Star, City Education Partners make space for educators to innovate, parents to advocate, and philanthropy to invest boldly. Over the past 10 years, City Education Partners has supported local public schools in creating more than 25,000 new high-quality seats for San Antonio students, trained or recruited more than 1,100 new teachers through CEP-supported initiatives, including innovative paid residencies that graduated more than 100 new teachers, invested in parents and families by providing microgrants to connect students to online learning during COVID-19, training more than 200 parents in education advocacy and supporting parent-facing organizations in amplifying the family voice, and catalyzed national philanthropy through local investment with an average of $7 in funding from national philanthropic organizations pledged for every dollar invested through CEP local donors. While the City Council traditionally engages most directly with early childhood and higher education, often viewing K-12 as the state's responsibility, it gives me great pride to recognize the consistent, intentional work happening in our local schools. Today is a reminder that there are meaningful ways for how city leadership can support and elevate K-12 efforts in our community. City Education Partners offers us a roadmap to supporting educational transformation, whether that be building relationships between schools and nonprofits, investing in initiatives that address challenges identified by CEP and its partners, or simply by elevating the issues facing our K-12 students. I do believe that Council has the power to help shift educational outcomes and meet students' and families' needs. I am grateful for City Education Partners' continued commitment to building quality schools, teacher talent, and family advocacy. In celebrating the first decade of impact, City Education Partners has also doubled down on its pledges to lead boldly and focus on what students need. I look forward to continuing to work with City Education Partners to help ensure every student in San Antonio has access to the education they deserve. Thank you for all that you do for our K-12 students. Dalia, I'll turn it over to you to say a few words.
Thank you so much, Councilwoman Alderete Gavito, for this recognition. We are super excited to hear you elevate the role that the city can have in advancing and ensuring the quality of education for K-12. We're so excited to celebrate 10 years of City Education Partners in San Antonio. It means that we've had 10 years to engage with familias, with educators, with leaders, and with community leaders like yourself to ensure that every child in San Antonio does have access to that quality education and to catalyze the conditions necessary for them to thrive. And that has been recent, but also each and every one of you have touched that through your district, so thank you. We are super excited about your commitment to that. We want you to know that we stand ready to support you all in any initiative that you have that's going to advance opportunity for youth across the city. So our team that's here, our board that's behind us, and many friends that are actually sitting in council today, we just invite you to come to us and let us know how we can support your efforts to make San Antonio the city that our children deserve, and we're so well on our way there. So thank you.
Thank you so much for making time to join us this afternoon. The work that you do in terms of making sure that we support K through 12 education in our community is exactly why I set up the Educational Opportunities Committee, which is chaired by our very own Councilman Rick Galvan. And so when we think about the many, many inequities in our community, the sources of that, and the future of addressing those things, you're right, the city has a role to play in that, because if we don't, we deal with the consequences later on. So thank you for your work. I look forward to your collaboration with the Educational Opportunities Committee, and where there are potentially disagreements with ISDs, we work on those together. Chair Galvan, would you like to say a few words about the group? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mayor, and thank you to all the folks who are here today. Of course, I'm always grateful to be in the room with folks who are championing education here in our community and working on ways to continue to expand educational opportunities in our community and expand educational achievement. I know something that we will continue to work on, and as we're especially mapping out some of the data that we talked about yesterday at our meeting, we had a very robust conversation in the Educational Opportunities Committee about how we can make sure that not only are we tailoring our programs, but you have the data ready to also do that work. Because we do have some programs, right, when we look at K through 12 that here at the city with parks or with DHS or with Metro Health, that we are working on the not only direct service to students in their educational journeys, but also the family engagement too, right? So how can we make sure that those things are being done in such a way that is effectively working with folks who desperately need it, maybe sometimes more than others, some communities more than others. It's something that I'm really excited to continue working on with my committee, as well as with the entire city council, and with you all as well. So thank you all so much, and looking forward to continued collaboration with you and many other educational advocates in our community.
Great.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yep. Thank you, Councilman Galvan. Okay, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Is there any objection to taking the consent agenda before the individual items so that we may clear the business for the day? Okay, there being no objection, items 4 through 24 are on the consent agenda. This means they will be considered as a group, and there will not be a staff presentation unless pulled for individual consideration. Are there any items council members would like to pull from the consent agenda to be heard individually? This is not the highlights, these are those to be pulled individually. Okay, hearing none. We'll move on to public comment on consent. The first individual is Kristen Benno. I'll call individuals in order of the sign up and all items, to sign up for all items on the consent agenda. So again, the first member is Kristen Benno, followed by Jack Finger. All individuals will have 3 minutes to speak, and groups of 3 or more will have a total of 9 minutes.
Thank you so much for having us. My name is Kristen Bino. I'm the development director at Magic Theater, very familiar with Councilperson Carr. We are just here because there is something on the consent agenda that concerns Magic Theater, and we wanted to make sure that if there were any questions, we were here and present for it. With me is our board member, Pam Bramble, who is our immediate past president, and our treasurer, Doran Vine. And that's it. We just wanted to be here and be available.
Thank you. Jack Finger. Sir, you've signed up for 3 items, but you have 3 minutes total. Thank you.
Very good, Madam Mayor. The big item on your agenda today is item number 23. It's about remaking Bandera Road, a major artery here in San Antonio. First, a little bit of background here. You know, about 100 years ago, 120, we as Americans, we started using something called automobiles. These were a great improvement over the horses and buggies. We didn't have to hitch up horses to our buggies. And over time, the automobiles allowed us to go anywhere we wanted to go, anytime we wanted to go. Ms. Gavito. So yes, we didn't even have to take public transportation. We didn't have to force Grandma to ride her bicycle in freezing weather to travel several miles from her home. We could do anything we want to. However, it looks like what you're trying to do today with item number 23 is restrict our freedom to do such things. Yeah, I'll just see currently over in, Mr. Audiovisual Manager, show that right now on Bandera Road we have 3 lanes dedicated to cars that wish to travel. That's going northbound on Bandera Road. In your plan, what you want to do is restrict that to only 2 lanes, with one of them being a bus zone. You take a close look at that. You'll see there's a bus in lane number 2, and then a whole lane devoted to buses in lane number 3. What's motorists supposed to do? What if some jerk decides to do the illegal example of traveling in the bus zone? Who's going to stop him? Is there going to be a cop on every corner telling him not to do that? What else, Mr. Audiovisual Manager, try to show that? How many lanes are you going to restrict us to? Well, you notice that right now we at least have 3 lanes going up and down Bandera Road. You want to put a median in there, there'll be no left turns if a person wants to get to the other side of the road with their car. Yes. What else are you going to show here? Well, let's see. Have to blow that up a little bit, Mr. Audiovisual Manager, to see what it says. Yeah, if you can read it there. Let's see. Yeah, it just simply says you're going to reduce our speed limit from 45 to 35, a 10-mile-an-hour decrease. And yes, here's another one. Frequently asked questions there. Yes, about. Yes, the construction of medians can lead to an increase in U-turns, especially when medians restrict left-hand turn access at specific intersection or driveway. However, this design is intentional. U-turns are intentional.
Thank you.
Gee.
Thank you. Ray David Cardona, followed by Montana Williams.
Good morning, Madam Mayor. How you doing? My name is Ray David Cardona. I'm representing, speaking on behalf of ST Engineering San Antonio Aerospace. We're our maintenance repair and overhaul facility here in San Antonio Airport. I'm actually advocating for the Ready to Work program, how it's benefiting us, the industry in general, providing funding and training for up-and-coming talent here in the city of San Antonio, providing work. We're actually leveraging that talent to increase the workforce for the aerospace industry. And I just want to say thank you to the Ready to Work program for providing those mechanics and those individuals. We're using it for training like our GenFam systems, 80 hours, or airframe and power plant training. We're also using that funding for our apprenticeship program. It's a 6-month program that we have here at City of San Antonio, ST Engineering, and then also we're using it for simulator training for engine run processes, really building the talent here in San Antonio. So I want to say thank you, and I want to advocate for the program so we continue using this funding. Thank you.
Montana Williams.
Thank you. I need to switch the ordinance from 24 to 3, but I'm Montana Williams. I'm part of the HR team at Frost Bank. I just wanted to take a moment and share more about the SA Ready to Work program and what it has meant for Frost Bank. This program has truly been exciting to be a part of. As many of you know, Frost Bank is deeply committed to giving back to the community and taking care of people. The SA Ready to Work program has given us another meaningful way to do exactly that by helping us provide long-term opportunities and investing in individuals who are eager to grow. We began partnering with SA Ready to Work program in 2024, and through that partnership, we launched an apprenticeship program. We hired 3 participants from that program, and each of them now have grown from an apprentice into a new contributing role within Frost. More recently, in October, we began partnering with a placement agency through the SA Ready to Work program called TriStar. They actively provide us with resumes of qualified candidates for our contact center. This has been a great partnership since we hire cohorts for our contact center each month. This collaboration has not only streamlined our hiring efforts, but has also allowed us to offer career growth paths for individuals, higher paying opportunities, access to competitive employee benefits package, and a company culture that truly cares about these individuals. I want to extend a sincere thank you to the City of San Antonio and the SA Ready to Work program for their continued contribution to our community and for giving individuals the resources they need to build better futures. Thank you.
Thank you. That's all the individuals that have signed up for this portion. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Make motion to approve.
It is moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. I know we have several council members that that have highlights. Are there any other questions about the consent agenda, however? Okay, we'll move on to highlights. District 2.
Thank you, Mayor. I am absolutely thrilled today to highlight item number 8, the approval of a construction contract for our brand new state-of-the-art veterinary hospital and renovation of their existing clinic. Back in 2021, I took a tour of the Animal Care Services campus, and it was such a privilege to meet with the staff to see up close their operations, the work that they do day to day, and especially at that time, the way that they operated throughout the pandemic and the winter freeze of 2021. I did get to see their veterinary clinic, which not a lot of people had the opportunity to do, where they were performing surgeries far beyond what they actually had capacity for. And when I asked if they could have anything, be it budget or bond, they said, we really need a new veterinary hospital. So when the opportunity came up for it to be presented to the bond committee on a short list of projects from the council, I was very disappointed to see it was not on that preliminary list. It was then that I made the plea to my colleagues to prioritize this project. And so I do want to thank my colleagues past and present, every bond committee member, and the voters who approved this project. Though it is not in my district and is actually quite far from my district, I was proud to champion this hospital because we know that the needs of ACS are great, and when they don't have the resources that they need to perform the work our community expects and needs, it is a detriment to morale, to trust, and to community safety. I look forward to a groundbreaking, and I am expecting an invitation, and I look forward to all of the good that will happen as a result of this item today. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilwoman Kaur.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a couple of highlights. One of them was already mentioned a little bit, but I want to highlight item number 5, which is an item granting some funding to be allocated for the Magic Theater's renovations to finally begin, which I know they have been eagerly waiting. They are actually going to be shut down while this occurs because they're making it ADA accessible and working on HVAC, which somehow Mike figured out a way to help them get their scope of program that they needed in this bond funding. So I want to thank city leadership for continuing to persist to get them what they needed out of this round, and that way we can get on to the next round and start planning for what's in the future. I want to thank y'all's leadership. You guys are relentlessly supporting arts for our kiddos and making sure that we all have access, all of our kids have access to what the amazing programming you offer there. So I can't wait to see Dragons Love Tacos on the road this spring, and we'll be definitely sharing it with all of our school districts as well. I also wanted to highlight item number 14, which is reappointing a board member of ours, Katie Sarakos, to the Small Business Advisory Board. And then lastly, is Crystal here? Crystal Jones, is she here? Okay. Well, item number 21, y'all, I was skeptical, and she somehow figured it out. So I just wanted to shout out Crystal for her work on the cultural arts grants. She just did an amazing job getting us through the last few months on that, and I was very pleasantly surprised. So thank you, and staff let her know that I said thank you for her leadership there. Thanks, Mayor.
Councilwoman Viagran.
Thank you. I know they all left, but I do want to acknowledge, no, I see Katie there for District 10. All the points of personal privilege and all the good work that the council members brought forward. I think Mr. Arguello and the documentary, City Education Partners, the Space Summit. We have a lot to celebrate here in San Antonio, and I didn't want to let that opportunity go by before I could say that. But I would like to highlight another celebration is the appointment of Ashley Dawn Perez, District 3, to the San Antonio Arts Commission for the remainder of the term of the office that expires in May 31st, 2027, and then hopefully she wants to continue and move on. Our representative has been asked by her councilwoman, which is me, to sit on the Small Business Advisory Board because I felt like we needed an arts leader and someone that has that experience to be part of small business as we talk. And she took up that challenge, and then Ashley decided to take up this challenge for this appointment. And it's very important because she has worked so hard to help enhance the story around the World Heritage Trail through public art and through her partnership with the Department of Arts and Culture. So if you haven't, you can come by my office and see a piece she did in conjunction with other artists. And you can also see, drive by where she has put out the sculpture, and it's called Kindred, located at the intersection of Half Avenue and Mission Road, and it depicts the rippling waters of unity across time and culture. And I think as we share our points of personal privilege, as we share our stories of our city in real time and not after we lose people, it's important that we see that in the public art that's going on. And the beauty of this one is the design draws inspiration from the hands of Mission San Jose descendant Vincent Huizar, who passed away this November. So if you haven't seen the video, because I know the World Heritage Office recorded it, you can kind of see our celebration of Mr. Huizar, of the art piece, and of the city of San Antonio. So thank you, Ashley, for agreeing to serve, and thank you, council members, for your support.
Councilman Munguia. Councilmember Castillo.
Thank you, Mayor, and good morning, everyone. There are several items I would like to highlight this morning. I would like to begin by congratulating Eduardo Jimenez for serving on the Ethics Review Board. He brings a wealth of legal expertise to this committee, so we're extremely grateful. I would also like to give a big shout out to Stephanie Carretero, who's here today with us on her appointment to the higher education. If you'd like to stand, Stephanie, to be recognized, that'd be great. And she's being appointed to the Higher Education Student Advisory Board. Stephanie is a pre-law student at St. Mary's University and has interned with Senator Menendez, Judge Melissa Sines, and she's now interning with our council office. We're extremely grateful for her leadership in public service. And Stephanie also serves as a soccer coach, so a youth soccer coach. So we're just extremely grateful for her work and leadership and commitment, rather, to public service. So we're so proud of you, Stephanie. I'd also like to highlight item 13, it's an ordinance accepting funds for DNA testing grants for sexual assault kits. This is one of the few SAPD grants that goes unmatched, and I highlight this item to highlight the importance of ensuring that we continue to do all we can to support victims of sexual assault, and just highlighting the importance of this grant to the city of San Antonio and our residents. Those are all the items. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilwoman Alderete-Gavito.
Thank you. I have two items to highlight today. First, I want to highlight item number 17, appointing Pastor Jonathan Pyle to the City of San Antonio Commission on Strengthening Family Wellbeing. Pastor Pyle, if you don't mind standing to be recognized. Pastor John is a beloved member of the District 7 community, serving as the community care pastor at City Church on Bandera Road. He received his bachelor's degree in international relations from the University of Southern California and a master's in biblical studies from the Grace School of Theology. He started his career in the private sector, but transitioned to working in the church in 2011, and he hasn't looked back. Pastor John is passionate about providing both spiritual and tangible care to individuals and families in our community. He has a deep understanding of the importance of meeting people's basic needs in order for them to be able to thrive. Pastor has led a large faith-based campaign for the San Antonio Food Bank called Feed SA and has been engaged in community service throughout his life. A loving husband and father, he regularly volunteers at his children's school. He has led a life of service and brings comfort to so many in our community and has also been an amazing partner to our District 7 team. Pastor John will be an amazing addition to this commission, and I'm so honored to appoint him today. Thank you so much for your willingness to serve, and thank you for everything you do for District 7 and our city as a whole. Please help me give Pastor John a round of applause. Thank you. I had one more quick item. I also want to highlight item number 23, adopting the Bandera Road Corridor Plan Phase 2 as a component of the city's comprehensive master plan. Anyone who has driven up the stretch of Bandera Road between Loop 410 and Culebra knows that the lanes are wide, that cars drive fast, and it is not friendly at all to pedestrians or cyclists. I want to be clear that approving this item is just approving the plan. We still have a lot to do, of work to do in partnership with TxDOT to put this plan in action. That being said, I want to express my support for the vision as it lays out. As long as I've been in office, I've advocated for a more walkable, bikeable corridor with more tree cover to mitigate the heat island effect. Thank you to the planning department for your work on this, and I'm glad to see the plan moving forward, and I look forward to continuing the momentum to make sure it comes to life. Thank you.
Councilwoman Spears.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to concur with my colleagues about this Space Summit real briefly. This is a major opportunity for San Antonio, and it showcases our strengths in cybersecurity research and what we're doing at Port San Antonio and JBSA. I'm excited about the STEM pathways and workforce opportunities for students and young professionals, and I'm excited to see what our local partners and stakeholders start participating and taking advantage of the visibility and economic opportunities it brings to our city. But I also wanted to highlight items 11 and 12. These are two public safety items on today's agenda, I think, that are very important for our community for continued coordination between the city, the state, and our regional partners. The first is the ordinance that's accepting roughly $3 million in grant funding from the Office of the Governor's Public Safety Office, Homeland Security Grants Division, for the Texas Anti-Gang Program. And I've been on one of the anti-gang unit ride-alongs, and I encourage all of you to go. It is remarkable what they are able to do and how they actually support our community in so many ways. This funding allows the city to continue critical anti-gang prevention, intervention, and enforcement efforts. And it also strengthens local and interlocal cooperation agreements with the Texas Department of Public Safety and the Bexar County Sheriff's Office. The second ordinance authorizes the acceptance of grant funds in an amount not to exceed $200,000 from the Office of the Governor's Public Safety Office for the fiscal year 2026 for our TKDNA testing grant program for that same period. This funding supports timely and accurate DNA testing, which is essential for solving violent crimes, supporting victims, and ensuring integrity and accountability within the criminal justice system. Together, these items reinforce our commitment to public safety, and effective use of state resources, and strong collaboration across agencies to protect our neighborhoods. The next item is item 17. This is the appointment of Drew Stamper to the Ethics Review Board. Drew holds a BBA, and you can stand up if you want, Drew. And your whole family's here, Lily and Clark. Lily's a long friend of my daughter, and his wonderful wife, Catherine, who serves on our Commission on Education as well. But we're here to honor you, Drew. Drew holds a BBA in Management Information Systems from Baylor University and a JD from UT Austin. He's an attorney since 2002 with 6 years on active duty as a judge advocate and 17 years as a reserve judge advocate. He's a civil litigation attorney in San Antonio since 2009, and he recently retired from the Air Force Reserves, where his greatest satisfaction was leading and mentoring junior airmen. He's also a longtime community volunteer through Habitat for Humanity, the Children's Hunger Fund, and Sunday school teaching and youth basketball coaching. And I'm excited that you're going to serve District 9 on our Ethics Review Board. So thank you, Drew, for agreeing to serve. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. That completes all of that. So there being no further discussion, there is a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Please vote. Motion carries. We'll move on to item 3. Madam Clerk, please read the caption.
Item 3 is an ordinance extending the term of the San Antonio Ready to Work Advisory Board, amending the board member composition and term length, approving board member appointments for terms ending May 31st, 2029, reappointing Alexandra Perez to the Community Organization seat, reappointing Jerry Graber and Amanda Wright to the current or previous City Workforce Development Program participant seats and waiving the residency requirement for Jerry Graber, appointing Maria Jimena Saenz and reappointing Jennifer Cantu, Stephanie Gaines, and Benjamin Peavy to the local employer in-demand occupation seats and waiving the residency requirement for Benjamin Peavy, reappointing Priscilla Aguilar to the training provider or higher education institution seat, appointing John Champion to a newly added training provider or higher education institution seat.
Okay, great. So motion and a second for approval, so we may begin discussion on this item.
I make a motion to approve.
Okay. It has been moved and seconded to approve item number 3. We'll take a staff presentation at this point.
Good morning, Mayor, Council. Thank you for the opportunity to be before you this morning to present the advisory board action item. The board was established in December of 2020. It currently sunsets December 31st, 2025. The recommendation by the Economic and Workforce Development Committee on October 15th was to extend the board term to December 31st, 2030, and amend the board's composition to add the following seats: training provider, higher education institution, category reserved for applicants with experience serving individuals with high barriers. The board member term will align with current council member terms. Next slide. Proposed board composition changes. Currently, we have 4 local employers being represented, the largest composition of members of the board to give that employer voice to the program. Current or previous workforce program participants, 2 individuals, a trade and labor organization representative, community-based organization, training provider or higher education institution, and 2 city council liaisons appointed by the mayor. Additional seats being requested to be added: an additional training provider and higher education institution seat, and a high barrier serving organization position seat as recommended by EWDC. The 9 appointments recommended today: Ali Perez for community-based organization, current previous city workforce development program participants Jerry Graber and Amanda Wright, and then the 4 in-demand employer seats: Jennifer Cantu, Stephanie Gaines, Ben Peavy, Jimena Saenz, and training provider higher education seat Priscilla Aguilar, and an additional seat, if approved by the council, John Champion. There's no fiscal impact. Staff recommends City Council approve the ordinance to extend the advisory board, amend board composition, and to appoint the board applicants. As a follow-up to the November 12th B session, we heard council's feedback on the program generally. To reevaluate the incumbent worker training program was echoed by the council members who were able to speak. Job placement improvement was critical. Focus on the highest performing occupations and eliminate low performing occupations. Our staff and advisory board have begun follow-ups to that B session, and the IWT program will be eliminated beyond the current awards. On-the-job training, participant cohorts with employers and internships will continue. The advisory board moved very swiftly, and during the week of Thanksgiving, formed a working group that has met to begin reviewing the occupations for swift action. On December the 16th, that working group, which is composed of leadership from the board, the prime partners who are actually conducting the work, and some city staff members, will be making a recommendation to the board subcommittee on December the 16th for those cuts. And on January the 20th, the full advisory board will make their official recommendations. Staff is working to identify a relationship between participant barriers and job placement. We're going to market the highest performing occupations to increase enrollment in those career pathways, starting from the top. We'll continue monitoring prime partner performance and evaluate contract extensions beyond the current expiration dates in June, July 2026. That concludes my presentation. Thank you all so much for your support.
Thank you. We'll move on to the individuals that have signed up to speak on this item, and then we'll move on to council comments. I'll call the individuals that have signed up in the order that they have done so. The first person to speak is Romanita Mata Barrera, followed by Aaron Albrecht. All individuals will have 3 minutes to speak. In groups of 3 or more, will have a total of 9 minutes. So Romanita and then Aaron Albrecht, if you'd please line up after her so we can move through this expeditiously. Thank you.
Good morning, Mayor and council members. I'm Romanita Mata Barrera, and I serve as the Chief Business Advancement Officer for Greater SATX, and we are here representing the many employers that you see here who have joined us today, as well as speaking from a perspective of the mission that we have for this community and the city, which is the recruitment and the retention of the diversification of key industries who are representing high growth, high wage jobs in our community. And I will say that from the very beginning, we have worked very closely with many of you council members in the ideation around what is ready to work, and very closely also with the staff. And for us, it's a critical differentiating factor when we look at how we position San Antonio more competitively to compete for jobs. It's a competitive landscape, and I will say that we have seen a shift in what companies would look for in the past, which was mostly around incentives, to today it is all about workforce. It's the #1 criteria that companies will utilize to locate themselves here in our community. And as a proud San Antonian myself, I work in a very purpose-driven position to see and make sure that it is San Antonians in our community who are able to take on these high-wage jobs, and with good employers that we are recruiting to the San Antonio community. And so I would say that for us, it's become a competitive and differentiating advantage. Other communities have other kinds of workforce resources that they can offer. The state of Texas, if you look at any other community, will also offer companies skills development fund, but the one differentiating factor is ready to work that differentiates us from all other communities that we are looking to compete with. And just as importantly, for the employers that we have here in our region, that's what I directly oversee, is business advancement. As our team is out meeting with companies, the #1 assist that they ask for is help us with workforce, help us identify the right resources, the right talent pools, and help us readily connect to that. And I would say that is another key factor to why we feel that it's important. We work very closely with the team in providing labor market information and ensuring that the city of San Antonio and our residents are not just being prepared for the jobs that we have today, but really always forward-looking. What are the jobs and the key occupations that we see? I'm proud to see, and you've heard already from different employers from different key sectors, from aerospace to Frost Bank in the financial services sector. You'll hear from other employers, and I will mention one specific company, Guidehouse, that we are so proud of, that we were able to recruit over 1,000 professional jobs. A key factor for why they chose San Antonio, they did not ask for any incentives. It was specifically knowing that we have access to great workforce programs, and so we are here to say we are a great partner to Ready to Work and happy to continue to do so. Thank you.
Aaron Albrecht, followed by Errol Sykes. Errol Sykes, if you'd line up, please. Thanks.
Good morning. I'd like to apologize. Aaron Albrecht could not make it here today, and I would like to ask permission to speak on behalf as
Ma'am, what is your name?
Tabitha Long.
Ma'am, you haven't signed up to speak, and we cannot just allot your time, so you won't be able to speak today.
Thank you very much.
Errol Sykes, followed by Shamika Ellison. Errol Sykes, okay. Shamika Ellison, followed by Rena Oden.
Good morning, Mayor and council members. My name is Shamika Ellison, and I want to sincerely thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. In 2024, I enrolled in the community health course through the Ready to Work program. At the time, I was living in the shelter with my 5 children. It was a challenging period getting to and from class. Wasn't always easy, but thanks to the unwavering support of my case manager, those barriers were removed. With the support, I was able to complete my training and internship with the YWCA San Antonio's Ready to Work program. Initially, I didn't fully grasp the magnitude of this initiative. That changed when I was offered an apprenticeship, where I completed an additional 240 hours of formal education and hands-on experience. The opportunity led to something even greater. On May 13th of 2025, I was hired full-time by YWCA San Antonio. Today, my children and I have a home, we have stability, and for that, I am eternally grateful. Not just for the opportunities given to me, but for the future that's been made possible for my family. Now, as a proud and dedicated employee, I stand before you to advocate for the extension of the Ready to Work Advisory Board's term. When this initiative launched, it was more than a workforce development program. It was a promise. I promised to equip San Antonians with the skills, training, and support needed to thrive in a rapidly evolving economy. The advisory board has played a vital role in ensuring the promise is kept. Through strategic guidance, community healthcare, technology, and skilled trades, and beyond. But we all know that true workforce transformation doesn't happen overnight. It requires sustained effort, long-term vision, and consistent leadership. Extending the advisory board's term isn't just a procedural step. It's a strategic investment in the future of our city. In short, Ready to Work is not just a program, it's a movement. And every movement needs steady hands to guide it. Let's not lose the momentum we've built. Let's extend the advisory board's term to reaffirm our commitment to a stronger, more inclusive San Antonio. Thank you for your time and for your continued service to our community. Thank you.
Rena Oden, followed by Christopher Mammon.
Good morning, Mayor, Council. I'm Renee Oden, Macedonia Baptist Church. I am a COPS Metro leader. In 1992, thousands of workers were immediately without work when the Levi plant and Kelly Air Force Base were closed. COPS Metro, with both state and city funding, founded Project Quest to help San Antonio residents gain skills to meet the needs of employers in sectors of the local economy. They supported community residents in completing those programs, passing certificates, passing certification exams, and obtaining jobs. A 14-year study by Economic Mobility Corporation concluded Quest's overall impact was driven by participants who were the least likely to succeed on their own. Project Quest has the greatest impact on earnings for participants who were ages 25 and older, and particularly those aged 35 and older. Quest participants earned, on average, nearly $139,000 more than the control group. In 2020, the COVID pandemic threw thousands of San Antonians out of their jobs, especially in the service and the hospitality areas. With 1/8 cent sales tax available, COPS Metro worked with the mayor and city council to use the Project Quest model to start San Antonio's Ready to Work program. In November of 2020, voters overwhelmingly approved sales tax funding proposal at the rate of 77%. Ready to Work was to provide free job training and placement for residents in high-demand fields, offering education, wraparound services, and connecting participants in training partners for jobs and paying at least $15 an hour with the career ladder. COPS Metro has and will continue to hold the program accountable. One of the strongest allies of the program, along with COPS Metro, is the Ready to Work Advisory Board. The appointment of several members of the Ready to Work Advisory Board is the reason we are here today, and we urge the council to approve these wonderful, hardworking community volunteers. Thank you.
Christopher Mammon, followed by Priscilla Camacho.
Good morning, Mayor and Council. Thank you for letting me speak today regarding the Ready to Work program. My name is Christopher Mammon. I'm the Executive Director of the D. Howard Foundation. We're an aerospace workforce development and education pathway organization focused here right in San Antonio. We represent organizations and industry partners like Boeing, Standard Aero, Knight Aerospace, Southwest Research Institute, education partners like Alamo Colleges, UTSA, Hallmark University, in making sure that we're leading individuals into high-demand, high-wage roles in our community. We heard earlier about the new space conference that's coming to San Antonio, and that's leading directly into roles that might not be here today, but that are growing in the future, and we're contributing to that growth. Speaking to the appointment of the Ready to Work individuals, the appointment and reappointment of the individuals on the board, they've listened and learned and led our community through the many years of Ready to Work. Some of them have been involved in things like Train for Jobs as well prior to that, and we've learned what works and what doesn't. I was looking at the dashboard this morning, and over 3,500 or nearly 3,500 individuals have been placed into roles with wages that start at $21.50 per hour. That's important for our community's growth. That's important to serve the underserved individuals, those with who we've heard from already today, who have barriers to employment and to education pathways. And these leaders on the board and appointed will continue to lead Ready to Work in the right direction for these high-demand, high-wage roles. So thank you for your support of Ready to Work and for all industries in San Antonio.
Priscilla Camacho, followed by Ali Bakari.
Good morning, Mayor and Council members. My name is Priscilla Camacho. I'm the Chief Legislative, Industry, and External Relations Officer for the Alamo Colleges. On behalf of Dr. Flores and the 6,000 employees, 89,000 students that we have across the Alamo Colleges District, we are proud to partner with the city on this initiative. We know that it works. We know that our citizens need opportunity, and that sometimes it's a paycheck, sometimes it's the zip code that they live in. We recognize and we are partners with you on this effort. We are really proud of also that you as a city, the council and the mayor of the city of San Antonio are the only city to invest in the most important infrastructure we have, which is our human talent. We have never seen anything across the country that is doing this kind of work, and it is hard work. It's not easy work. And as you heard my colleague Christopher Mammon mention earlier, we've had an incredible board, and we're very supportive to see it extend into 2029. And they have learned, and they have given us feedback every step of the way, making us improve every step of the way in what we do for our citizens and for the learners that attend our colleges. And so I want you to know that on behalf of our district, we're committed to continuing to make changes. The good thing is the state and the federal government are hearing the same lesson. They're telling us to do the same thing. We're focused on performance. Our students completing those credentials of value, and are they completing those credentials of value in occupations and areas that are going to lead them to family-sustaining wages? You have, as a council, committed to us that we need to focus on making sure that citizens get those wages after they complete the program, and we're right there with you. We've changed our own policies. We're actually reevaluating our programs to make sure that that's what's happening, and we are having serious conversations with our industry partners of how do we continue to reevaluate the program's time to completion, because time is always going to be the enemy to completion, especially for learners who have been away from the classroom for an extended period of time. And so with that, I'm not going to take much more time because I know you have a lot of partners here that want to speak their mind, but just know that we are committed to being partners with you in this effort, and anything you need from us, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you.
Ali Bakhari, followed by Katie Ferrer.
Good morning, Mayor, council members. I'm Ali Bukhari. I'm an executive at Guidehouse. We are a global technology and advisory company. We have 18,000 employees globally. We opened up operations in San Antonio just about a year ago, and in February this year, we announced our commitment to create 1,000 jobs over the next 5 years. I'm happy to say this year we've added over 200 already. But what I'm really thrilled about is so far 8, soon to be 10, of those jobs have really been created out of the Ready to Work program. We have focused our program initially in the area of medical coding. You know, the individuals, one individual had been a caregiver for 10 years, had been out of the workforce. You know, she's now in the workforce with benefits, with upward mobility. Another individual was doing a minimum wage job at Taco Cabana. He's now employed by us, you know, and thriving. We are going to be, we've already, you know, spoken to our partners in, with TriStar and others and the Ready to Work program for the city. There are 3 other cohorts that we're looking forward to this coming year. In addition, we will be expanding the scope of our work to include technology and other areas as well. That's really exciting. And as Romanita said earlier, you know, we looked at a lot of locations before we chose San Antonio. We did not apply for, nor did we receive any incentives to be here. The big pull to come to the city of San Antonio was the commitment of the city on workforce development. And you know, we're certainly an advocate of it. It's a fantastic program. And you know, we are committed to continue to grow and leverage the program, and you know, it's phenomenal, and we would appreciate your continued support of it. Thank you very much.
Katie Ferrer, followed by Jennifer Cantu.
Good morning. My name is Katie Ferrier. I'm here to represent the Greater San Antonio Chamber of Commerce in support of extending the efforts of the SA Ready to Work Advisory Board. Our chamber supports the city's continued investment in workforce development, and we recognize SA Ready to Work is an important part of that ecosystem. We're not here to give a blanket endorsement of every element of the program, but we do believe the initiative should continue. We appreciate that SA Ready to Work has helped thousands of participants enroll in education or training programs. We also recognize some success in job placements and industry certifications, but there is room to refine its alignment with employer needs and strengthen accountability for outcomes. The program should continue shifting toward demand-driven training that directly reflects job openings in the San Antonio region and engage employers and education advisors in how best to prioritize pathways that support upward mobility. It remains critically important to involve employers early in the process, especially in designing training pathways and validating that curricula match real-world skill requirements. We hope the advisory board will consider faster on-ramps for in-demand credentials that lead to immediate employment, and please don't shy away from transparency. Employers, taxpayers, and participants all benefit from clearer, more frequent reporting on job placements, wage gains, retention, and completion rates. Consider sunsetting programs that consistently underperform or do not lead to family-sustaining wages. We encourage reporting by industry sector so we can better understand where outcomes are the strongest and where adjustments are needed. Employers I speak with often report challenges with soft skills, attendance, transportation, and childcare, and the program should expand wraparound and retention supports in those areas. The Greater Chamber stands ready to strengthen employer engagement and share labor market insights from our members. For example, we'd be happy to convene sector leaders and give direct feedback on in-demand skills and hiring trends. Our goal is to not simply continue the program, but to help make it better, more accountable, and more responsive to employer needs. Thank you for your leadership and for the opportunity to support a stronger workforce in San Antonio.
Jennifer Cantu, followed by Francisco Martinez.
Hello, Mayor and Council. I'm Jennifer Cantu. I'm the San Antonio Market Executive for Bank of America. I oversee all of our community engagement and corporate philanthropy. I also have had the honor and privilege of serving on the advisory board for the last 3 years, and I am the co-chair of the Employer Engagement Council. Thank you for the opportunity to be in front of you today. As we've heard from several people mentioned, that this program is very unique in the investment that we are making here in San Antonio in workforce development. It's like none other across the country. However, I would argue that it's also about the broader ecosystem that we have created here in San Antonio around workforce development and upskilling our local residents, starting all the way from early childhood with Early Matters to Pre-K for SA, to the Future Ready Initiative, to the Alamo Promise Initiative, to the Ready to Work Initiative. It is about creating a pathway from early childhood all the way up to our adults to ensure that they have the same access and opportunity. It should not determine what zip code you're born into determines the rest of your future and your outcomes. And that is why Ready to Work was born, was to be able to work with our participants. Keep in mind that the average participant in Ready to Work is over 25-year-old and a female Latina. That is significant in the population we are looking to serve. There has been a lot of talk about job placement and how do we increase that and move that forward. And let me first say that no one wants that more than all of our partners, Project Quest, Workforce Solutions, Alamo Colleges. They are the experts and they are the ones guiding us in that conversation. I also want to make sure you hear from someone on the board, and as Mike has said, and we continue to reiterate, we hear you and we are moving and taking action. With that, I want to make sure you all are aware that over the last 3 years since the program has gone on, we not only look at the data at the top of the house and then by occupation and by each of the partners, we also go into each occupation and understand what training providers are underneath that. What are the 5 or 6 or 10 training providers for each occupation? And then how are they performing? Since the program began, we have cut over 400 training providers that did not meet our standard. We also heard you loud and clear that we needed to do a better job of partnering with our business community and bringing them on earlier on from the beginning. That is why we have created cohort models where we have brought in businesses like Frost Bank, like Guidehouse, several others that have come on board to say, we will start early on in the process with you, commit to a cohort, and then build from there. We also are continuing to look at how do we amplify and promote the occupations that are doing well, that have that higher job placement. So we are looking at ways that we can market and promote and do more to engage the community on what those opportunities are for those job placements. And as Mike mentioned, after following the B session, we created a working session that met weekly. I can't tell you the number of calls and meetings I've had, sometimes multiple times in a week, in order to evaluate so that way next week we can pull back up with our advisory board and make stronger recommendations how we continue to refine this process. Thank you for the opportunity to have this role and continue this work.
Francisco Martinez, followed by Ruby Duarte, excuse me.
Good morning, City Council and Mayor. Francisco Martinez, President and CEO of Project Quest. I stand here to share the good work that's been done. San Antonio is known for a lot of good things. The Alamo, the Riverwalk, cybersecurity, space, all these work that we continue to work that make us unique. Unfortunately, San Antonio also has a side of one of the most economically segregated communities in the country. And we've known that. And folks like Cops Metro made that work a call for them, a call to action that created Project Quest 33 years ago. And since then, Ready to Work has been lifted up by the community, by the voters, supported by this council and the previous council. And we urge the support of the folks who do the work, who answer the call to civic duty of the advisory board to keep us accountable. As been mentioned before, there's a lot of work to continue. We can't overcome decades of economic segregation in 3 years. Possibly not 4 years. Quest has been at it for 33 years at a small scale, but the unprecedented size of the Ready to Work program, the investment, the commitment, and the fact that we have a community group of individuals who have stepped into the ring, who have taken ownership of helping guide the program through, help keep us accountable. Accountability is important. No one wants more accountability than those of us doing the work to ensure that we are doing the work for the right reasons, for the right people who need this program more than ever. The program will continue to deliver on its metrics. The city has formulated a structure that is keeping us accountable for ultimately the goal is job placement. So we urge your support, and I stand here in support of those individuals who have volunteered to stand in the arena and take on the responsibility of helping guide, helping support, but also keep us accountable. So I urge the council to continue that work, to make your footprint in this program the fact that we commit to the community group who helps keep us accountable, who helps keeps us moving forward, and who ultimately will be the folks to see this program through and to make sure that this program continues to be a success. As we know, as the study has been documented, we know this works. We know it takes time. We know it's not easy. If it were easy, everyone would be doing it. If it were easy, we'd be one of many cities attempting to do this. The work is not easy because we work with people who deserve more than an easy answer.
Yeah.
So thank you very much and urge your support.
Ruby Duarte, followed by Daniel Herrera.
Good morning, Mayor and council members. My name is Ruby Duarte, and I'm here today as a proud participant of the Ready to Work program, a single mother to a 5-year-old son, and a first-generation Mexican-American soon-to-be graduate with a bachelor's degree in leadership and project management from UIW. I'm standing in front of you today because Ready to Work didn't just help me, it changed my life. When I first applied for Ready to Work, I was struggling to balance everything on my plate, raising my son, working full-time, and trying to find a way to return to school. Like many single parents, I felt stuck in the cycle of wanting to advance but never having enough time, money, or support to take that step. Education felt like a luxury, not something actually attainable. Ready to Work turned that around. This program didn't just offer financial support, it offered hope, stability, and a real pathway forward. It removed the biggest barriers that often stop people like me from continuing their education. It helped me cover the cost of school, provided career guidance, and allowed me to focus on being a student and a mother instead of constantly worrying about how I was going to make it all work. Because of Ready to Work, I was able to stay enrolled, stay motivated, and stay on track. I was able to study at night after putting my son to bed, knowing that the program had my back. I didn't have to choose between paying for classes or paying for groceries. I didn't have to choose between investing in my future or being present for my child. Ready to Work made it possible for me to do both. And now, I will be graduating with my bachelor's degree in leadership and project management, an achievement that once felt impossible. This program didn't just help me, it helped my son. He gets to see his mom work hard, stay committed, and accomplish something big. He gets to grow up in a household where education is not only encouraged, but molded. This is generational impact. That is community impact. Ready to Work has helped thousands of San Antonians just like me. People who want to improve their lives, contribute to their community, and build a stronger future for their families. These are people who go on to join the workforce in high-demand fields, strengthen the local economy, and break cycles of poverty. San Antonio is stronger, more skilled, and more hopeful because of Ready to Work. I am living proof that when you invest in people, they come back and invest in their community. When you give people opportunity, they build something meaningful with it. I am asking you today to keep the Ready to Work program, to continue supporting it, and to continue believing in the residents who just need a chance to succeed. This program works. I am here today standing before you as a graduate, a mother, and a professional because Ready to Work gave me that chance. Thank you for your time, and thank you for supporting programs that truly change lives.
Daniel Herrera, followed by Jerry Graber.
Good morning. Good morning, Mayor and Council. My name is Daniel Herrera, and I'm here as a supporter of the Ready to Work program. In my national role at Results for America, I work with governments across the country on workforce, evidence-based policy, and implementation. That perspective gives me a deep appreciation for something this City Council has already recognized, and that is that good ideas only matter if they are carried out with rigor, with data, and with a clear understanding of how real people move through complex systems. So from that national vantage point, I can say there are no large-scale workforce programs in the country that achieve 90% placement within 90 days for broad, high-barrier populations like the type of folks that Ready to Work serves. And importantly, Ready to Work currently sits at about a 70% job placement rate for participants who complete their training. And that aligns with national evidence with programs serving similar populations with significant employment barriers. So this means that the program is working and performing within the expected range for its mission and target population. And part of that mission, as you've heard, is to break intergenerational poverty for families in San Antonio. But there are models that reach higher placement rates when those are employer-designed and employer-committed cohorts are used. So your push for clear employer alignment, for focusing resources on models with demonstrated placement success, and for removing barriers that slow down hiring is exactly the kind of implementation discipline we see in the most effective cities. As you know, breaking poverty is complex and rarely linear, but Ready to Work is making steady, measurable progress, one credential, one placement, and one family at a time. As someone born and raised on the west side of San Antonio, thank you for investing in the people and working families of San Antonio.
Jerry Graber, followed by Jack Finger.
Morning. Thank you, Mayor, council members. My name is Jerry Graber, and I serve as board member for Workforce Solutions Alamo, vice chair of San Antonio Ready to Work Advisory Board, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you today. I have this 3-page speech that I was going to read to you today, but I see there's a lot of glassy-eyed folks here, so I'm just going to hit on some high points for you. Ready to Work is one of the most significant long-term economic mobility strategies our city has ever undertaken. At its core, the program is about strengthening San Antonio's workforce. I wrote in here, eliminating generational poverty, right? That is one of the things that we were gonna hit on the most. When this thing rolled out 5 years ago, that's one of the things that we were gonna hit on. And I think we are doing that. And eliminating it, it's gonna be a tough challenge. I think putting a dent in it, definitely. The advisory board was established to ensure oversight, accountability, and alignment across partners. We have focused on accountability, and we are doing that. The board acts as a bridge between city staff, workforce experts, higher education leaders. I want to commend city staff, training partners, and community-based organizations for the commitment to delivering a program of this magnitude with integrity and responsiveness. As vice chair, I see firsthand the dedication and collaborative spirit among our partners. We're building something meaningful, and the momentum is real. I do urge the council to approve the extension and reaffirm your support for this once-in-a-lifetime generation investment in our workforce. I'm going to go off script here real quick. I understand and I realize you guys have questions and concerns about this program, and I respect that. I urge and recommend you guys attend our meetings. Give us our liaisons. Attend our meetings. Join us so you understand and know what's going on with ours. That's all I ask. Thank you for your leadership and continued commitment for Ready to Work. Thank you.
Jack Finger is our final speaker.
Well, Madam Mayor and other members of our illustrious San Antonio City Council, For the record, my name is Jack M. Finger. San Antonio Ready to Work program. What does the report card say about it? That it is a large, resounding success? I don't think so. I think the reports that I've read say it's a large, resounding flop. Yeah. The numbers promised to the voters years ago, they never materialized. The recruited trainees never came forward. And the commensurate good-paying jobs never came forward either for them. So, and I don't recall the board or the advisory board advocating to the state legislature things that really work, such as school choice, when they were deliberating upon that. No, instead of ordering the local public works department to stop by the roadside and pick up this roadkill, as I call it, what are y'all going to do? You're all going to say, we know what? We will reappoint the same people who got us into this in the first place. And not only that, we'll extend their terms by twice the amount of time. Yeah, here's a suggestion. You might, in your capacity as city council, place on the ballot one more time a measure asking the voters to take away this whole program that it once approved. Yeah, just eradicate it, and have the money saved go back to each and every taxpayer, the proper amount that they would have paid for it in the first place. See if it passes. I think that would be if you really wanted to be honest with the voters, you might try such an initiative. Of course, it's a little far-fetched, but what the heck? We see all kinds of far-fetched things come before you every week over here. Yeah, try that if you would. Thank you.
As our final community speaker, we'll move on to council comments. Let me express my thanks to the Ready to Work board members for their service and for their willingness to serve again. I think when we had the initial discussion a couple weeks ago at the B session about, initially actually this was just the action was just to approve rather the reappointment of the board. But frankly, for the exact comments, Jack Finger, we're gonna agree on something here. Take note. But there are many folks in the community that have sentiments very similar to Jack Finger's, and they're valid, which is why before I had this council vote on reappointing the board members, I really wanted us to level set on where this very important program stood, to ensure that we in fact had the right folks on the board moving us in the right direction. Because the numbers are not what we would expect them to be, right? I think we take great heart in success stories like Miss Shamika Ellison and Miss Ruby Duarte. Thankful for your personal journeys and what the program has meant to you. And we have to balance that with the investment that also shows us that after a full year, 25% of the folks are still not in an approved job. And we have to explain that to our constituents, right? So again, we are heartened by your success. Understand, though, that the ROI, we must show much, frankly, better numbers to our community to justify this investment that could be invested elsewhere, right? I would push back. I think there was a gentleman that said there is no program that has 90% of folks in a job within 90 days. Actually, in fact, Mike Ramsey has showed us, actually, there's a couple of occupations in this program that have that. And now as we look at being much more disciplined in the implementation, I am thankful, again, that the board members want to serve again, and I'm thankful, as importantly, for your willingness to listen your willingness to listen. You heard the feedback at the B session. I am thankful that you are eliminating the incumbent worker program. When we saw the hundreds of thousands of dollars that were being invested to give somebody less than a 50-cent pay increase, you can imagine our disappointment that that's not what we signed up for. That's not what the community signed up for. So thank you for listening to the feedback. And again, a very regimented approach that ensures that we are meeting numbers, making ourselves as competitive as possible, and are moving in the right direction. I will say to the board, while I have you, I am a little bit concerned that had we not had that program overview that I requested, we would not have had a discussion about the incumbent worker program, and we would have not had the opportunity to kill it. So when I talk to the board, you know, the direction, my direction at least, is that those are the kinds of things that should be brought to us, not that we should have to ask about opportunities to improve the program routinely. Okay, so thank you again for your willingness to serve. We look forward to the staff's recommendations on ensuring that we are meeting placement. And I recognize that when this program started, I mean, we're in a totally different environment, completely different. And so your willingness to do this and listen to the feedback, as well as look at additional resources, economic analysis, labor statistics, et cetera, that help ensure we are moving in the direction that does meet the initial objectives of this, which is to address generational poverty. Okay, with that, let me move on to hear from so you can also hear from my colleagues. Let's see, the first one we've got, Councilwoman Viagran.
Thank you. As chair of the Economic Workforce Development Committee, I stay closely informed about the Ready to Work program through regular updates and remain engaged with its ongoing progress and impact. Let me tell you the number that matters to me. Let me tell you the data that drives me and my decision as the chair of the Economic Workforce Development, as the elected official that has been here for 4 years and watched this city grow. A 20% poverty rate. Of that 20% poverty rate, 50% women. So when the city came in 2020 and said they had an opportunity to address this as we got out of the pandemic, I was not sitting on that council. But the individuals that were decided this was the right move forward. And among pivots and among adjustments and among a lot of accountability with different faces, because you have seen a number of faces here since 2020, we have continued to move forward, and this board has continued to serve. And my partners, Alamo Community Colleges, Project Quest, Workforce Solution Alamo, Restore Education, has continued to serve. When Shamika came up and said, this is a strategic step, I was like, I don't even have to speak. She is telling the story for me. It is a strategic step and it is a movement. And that is what we're here today. You heard from the council, and with the help of the council, we are going to move forward, enhancing the programs and the efficiency. We're going to expand the access to residents that are needed, and we'll still have and continue with that education. But we can talk a lot about numbers. But the one number that we have to have in front of us is that 20% poverty rate. And how do we get out of that when we live in a state that has what? A $7 minimum wage. So we as this city has been creative and we have been collaborative and we have asked you to do this, many of you sitting on the board, for no pay or stipend. For hours and hours. So I'm asking my council colleagues today to recognize the work of this organization, to continue to give your input on how we need to make changes and make inputs and make adjustments, but understanding that the Shamikas and the Rubies and all of the others that are going through this program, they matter. And if it just took 2, I would still spend the money. But we know it's bigger than 2. And we know it's only going to get better. And again, I could give the history lesson of why we're here and why we have to invest. Because up until this point, women weren't sitting on this dais. Southsiders were it was not not a fair thing about who could vote. But we are voting and we're using our voices, and we could take this back to the voters and they'd still say yes. But we don't have to. They've said continue, make the changes, and allow us to use this. So I am looking forward to moving this here today. In my district alone, the program participants who have secured employment are earning an average starting salary of $44,684. And some of you are sitting there and go, that's not much. It's a 242% increase from what they were making before. So we want to talk about disparity. We want to talk about equity. We want to talk about moving this city forward. We support this program moving forward. And we understand that the talent pipelines come with working with our employers. So I am glad that we had this conversation. But next time we want to have a ready to work conversation, do this, I will have more than 13 speakers here. I will have 30. You see they were all charged and sat here today. So let's get this done today and start moving forward with this program. Thank you.
Councilman Castillo.
Thank you, Mike, for the presentation, as well as to all the Ready to Work partners, whether you're an employer or providing the workforce training. We're extremely grateful for your work and leadership in ensuring that we work towards addressing the social and economic disparities that we have in the city of San Antonio. And as many folks mentioned throughout their public comment, this is about reducing poverty in the city of San Antonio. And that's why I'm grateful for the current amended composition now includes 1 seat for a high employment barrier-focused organization. I'm extremely grateful for Councilwoman Misty Spears, who served on the subcommittee within the Economic Development Committee, because what we know, speaking to participants of the program and my constituents in particular, is that folks do have access to the training and the development, but when it comes to the hiring part, they're facing barriers because some of them may have a criminal record or an additional barrier. So I think we need to continue to work with our employers on how we can reduce those barriers, and with those reduction of barriers, we'll see more participants with placements and earning higher wages. Because the statistic that sticks with me is that 1 in 7 U.S. adults have been jailed and or incarcerated, and 1 in 3 U.S. adults have a criminal record. And when I speak with my constituents, that's one of the many barriers, despite having certifications, despite having degrees, face barriers in getting hired. And I think there's opportunity and room to work with our employers to ensure that folks that are looking to get back on their feet have that opportunity. But it's going to take continued work, and that's why I'm grateful, as the councilwoman mentioned, of the work of the committee. I think with this new makeup, there'll be more opportunity for sharing that information on how we can really reduce those barriers. I believe with this makeup and the adoption of it, it's a step in the right direction, and it will also complement some of the work that we're doing in terms of second chance hiring in District 5. D5, of course, is home to the county jail, and as cited by Stephen Huerta, is home to the highest concentration of formerly incarcerated individuals. And when we look at the high poverty rate in District 5, many of these issues intersect, and it's going to take all of us, providers, the city, and employers in particular, to ensure that we continue to move San Antonio forward. Again, just grateful for the work and leadership of the economic development team, because it's a huge task, and I believe with this makeup, it's reducing one of many barriers, but it's a step in the right direction in ensuring that there's a voice at the table to make sure that we don't leave any folks out of the conversation. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilwoman Kaur.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you all so much for the presentations, and particularly the folks that came out and shared their lived experiences. I think it's always, that's the most touching for us, and it makes the work that we're doing real. So really appreciate you being vulnerable and willing to share your story. So thank you so much. Thank you to Mike and your leadership, and also the advisory board members that are here today. We know this is really tough work, and I think we've had multiple conversations about Ready to Work. I've had the opportunity over the last couple of years to dig into the data. No one's going to be surprised that I'm a super big data nerd with this stuff. And I had the chance to talk to Francisco a couple of weeks ago as well to look at the dashboard. And, we've received rewards for the dashboard, the information that is up there. I still think there is work that we could be doing on how we are showing the numbers. So, i.e., some programs take 2 years to finish, and those are seen as incompletions right now. But I can't go in right now and figure out, of the people that have started 3-month programs, how many of those have completed? Of the people that have started 2-year programs, how many of those have completed? So I think there's ways that we can splice the data differently to be able to show where folks are on their trajectory. I didn't get a chance to speak at the last B session because we lost quorum that day, but I was reflecting on the conversation that day. And the thing that I wanted to make sure I iterate is that just like when we talk about schools and families and even us as adults and which jobs that we pick, and we have all had the luxury of choosing to be able to put our name in the ballot to serve here, I think it's very important that the community, regardless of where they are in their income bracket, have that exact same choice. So even though I get it, IT jobs are really incredibly difficult right now, and that is hard for folks to place, and we should be coaching people to make sure they know that information ahead of time, that when we are if you are choosing to go down this pathway, it is not the same thing as getting a CDL, where any school district will hire you if you get a CDL. There's plenty of positions for those. But as long as that coaching is occurring, I do believe in individual will and choice to be able to make sure that if you want to be in the IT, if that is your whole heart and passion, that you have the opportunity to do that. So I think what the advisory board should really focus on is making sure we are doing everything we can to work with our partners so that that is communicated on the front end. And I understand when there's so many people in the program, it's hard to assess. But we've got to figure out a way to continue to monitor and see what our individual coaches are doing, because they're the key pieces in this puzzle. From the intake through following them throughout the whole process. The other day at Educational Opportunities Committee, I guess that was just yesterday, we were discussing the care program for folks that need child care. And what we heard from some of our partners is that if the person who is doing the intake doesn't really upsell that and the opportunity, the individual might not know that childcare is available to them. And the council before us actually put a lot of funding into that, and I think we could really advertise that more with our providers to say, we are providing childcare, and we will help you find a high quality childcare that you could send your kids to while you're going through the program, because I'm sure even for some that's a barrier. And so all of that to say, I think we need to be continuing to push and continuing to figure out how can we work with our coaches hand in hand so that they know how to provide and support for the folks in the program, and how can we really market the developments of the program. Because the program has evolved so much, I think another part of the challenge is continuing to share the updates to the program and things that have been changed and altered. So last thing, I get to serve as an appointment, I think, advisory council member on the board with Councilmember White. So I'm excited to be able to continue to dive into the data and how we can show it more differently. But I just wanted to really quickly clarify from B session, and this has nothing to do with the appointments. Of course, it will support the appointments. But from the OJT and incumbent worker training, is it okay if I just ask a couple of questions about that, just so I can better understand? Because I saw the B session results, and I didn't know we were completely scrapping the program. I thought we were trying to figure out, and the reason why I'm asking is because one of the challenges I've heard from providers is that when folks leave and graduate the program, they have no experience in the skill. So my understanding was these two programs were to help get the experience that they need. to then be able to get into the higher paying jobs. So I understand, and I went back to the B session slides and looked up the 50-cent increase. So can you just help us refresh our memory on those two programs, what the challenges are, and what next steps are, Mike?
Thank you, Councilwoman, for the question. For incumbent worker training, it is for workers who are existing workers within organizations who have been there for longer than 6 months. The purpose of the program was to help employers to upskill those individuals so that they could have the tools they needed to, number one, earn more money in the future and potentially be promoted, creating more entry-level opportunities for our ready-to-work participants who are looking for entry-level roles. The on-the-job training program is an incentive program provided by council to employers who hire participants who have just completed their training through Ready to Work to get continued training on the job with those local employers.
Right.
That's the difference between the two. What we gathered from the B session was sentiment generally, and it's an art to try to gauge where the full council is. There's no vote, but we got the sentiment from council that IWT was not something that was supported, and that's why we moved swiftly to eliminate it.
So we did eliminate it already?
For future awards, that is correct.
Okay, okay. I missed that. And that was just because it wasn't showing the success that we were hoping for with actual promotions in the jobs.
Incumbent worker training is a long-term investment. Our contracts are only 18 months in length. Some of the trainings didn't occur until the back end of that 18-month agreement, so it takes time for those promotions to occur. And the general sense that we got from council was that the 34-cent raise, as those individuals seen, was not enough, so we moved swiftly to shift and pivot directions.
Okay. Okay, so we're still doing on-the-job, we're still doing the OJT program? Okay.
That is correct.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think the OJT program was very important, so I'm glad that didn't shift. I would like to see what we are, and I saw this base salary for incumbent worker was around 33 already, so it was a little bit higher than what our OJT folks are. But that being said, I appreciate the pivot, and I guess that was it was a little bit of a confusing day, but I, again, appreciate, like the mayor said, that you guys were hearing our feedback and would continue to like to see how we can grow the program. And at the end of the day, what I think the biggest target, if we can get to, is completion of the training. If that is the one target that we're looking for, and breaking that down to really see how we can increase the number of folks completing their training, I think we have a high success rate of actually getting them into the job. So any other barriers that come up. And the last thing I'll mention is Councilmember McKee Rodriguez and I last year or sometime before that, asked for folks that to do some qualitative research for folks that don't actually complete in X amount of time. And now that we are several years in, I think we should dive a little bit more deeper into the folks that aren't completing and doing some individual surveys to say what would have to have been true to help you to get to finish, so that we can learn from that even more. But those are my comments. Thank you for y'all's work. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilwoman. And it wasn't on the slide, but as a result of doing away with the incumbent worker program, that'll save $3 million. Additionally, I didn't see it on the slide, but in case it's helpful for anybody else, one of the other things that the program is going to start doing is to allay this misconception that people are leaving our community. Is they're going to be tracking where folks are after they complete the program to give us some assurance that, yes, people are taking advantage of the program in San Antonio, right? You got to be ready to work in San Antonio, not Houston or other places. So I really appreciate those two modifications, and again, being willing to listen to the feedback. Councilwoman Spears.
Thank you, Mayor. So I've said many times that I want good paying jobs for our kids and grandkids. And so this is what really fuels my passion for economic development and the workforce development. And I'm proud to serve on the Economic and Workforce Development Committee. I want to thank Councilwoman Castillo for her collaboration on this subcommittee with me to address the makeup of the board. I am excited to see what the high barrier population seat can bring to the table, and I did champion to add the higher education additional seat to champion to ensure that academic pathways and workforce pathways are aligned for success. But what I'm really excited to see is the revitalization of this advisory board. I know y'all are going to work hard to align with our stakeholders, that we're going to remove barriers for employment, that we're going to change the trajectory of generational poverty beyond providing job training and placement, which is necessary and important. But also, we have to help our participants see their potential, build their self-confidence, and secure the participants' hope in their futures here in San Antonio. This benefits San Antonio, our residents, future generations, and enables this body to grow our economic footprint in Texas and our nation overall. So I want to thank you, Alex, and to all of our advisory board for your service and commitment, and I look forward to seeing the improvements to this program, and I do appreciate the invitation to attend your meetings, and I look forward to participating. So thank you.
Councilwoman Mesa Gonzalez.
Thank you. Thank you to a Ready to Work team who's here today and board. I'm supportive of us moving forward with this item. Also, I saw a lot of our Ready to Work partners here, so Methodist Healthcare, Alamo Colleges, Hallmark, Workforce Solutions Alamo, Greater SATX, Restore Education, Project Quest. I think Goodwill San Antonio was here in Cops Metro. Thank you for your partnership with Ready to Work and all of the work you do in our community. So I am also very supportive of this high barrier population serving organizations positions that were added. I think this is a key to remind us of exactly the population that Ready to Work was intended to serve. And we know that the barriers that these folks coming into this program have and the resiliency to complete this program is key. The ready to work, the ready to part of Ready to Work is where I think we should focus so much of our time because finishing these programs is what makes it a Ready to Work program, honestly. So I just want to commend everybody here. This has been a uphill climb. I know, I remember when this program started, but we've been steady. You've been listening to folks, and like the councilwoman said, you've seen a lot of faces on council since this program started. So thank you for listening to us and just very supportive. So thank you.
Councilman Galvan.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Mike, and all the folks here who not only presented today, but also gave their comments, whether you're on the Ready to Work Advisory Board or a member of the public, or have been involved in the beginning of making this project come to life and continuing to see it through its biggest challenges and biggest opportunities as well. I'm very grateful to see the kind of pivots we're making to make sure this program is as successful as possible. I think I've talked about in the Economic Workforce Development Committee, or maybe during that B session, this is something that I really do believe in, and I want to make sure that we are doing everything we can to make this program work as effectively as possible to, again, move that needle, right, on addressing poverty here in our city and ensuring that as our city continues to grow, as our economy continues to grow, that our residents are gaining too in that growth and are able to live more quality lives and are able to live more proud and successful lives too here in our city that we all call home. One question I had, just clarifying one, I know during the B session we talked about phasing out different occupations, and there was a point on there about on this current presentation about focusing on the high occupying or the high doing well programs or occupations currently. Mike, are we? I know we're going to be marketing those ones more, but are we going to be phasing out the other ones, the ones that are performing as well?
That's correct, Council Member.
Okay.
One of the bullet points was eliminating those occupations that aren't performing well, and that's the work that the advisory board and the work group that they've had formed started immediately after that B session, and we'll have some action on that in January.
Okay, and do we have a timeline about, well, maybe it was in the January conversation, but just want to know if there's any timeline currently on that.
January 20th, that's when the board will make their official recommendations.
Okay, and will it come before us to kind of review as well, or would it just be through a board action?
We'll make sure we update the council. We'll provide a memo of what that action was, and that board meeting, of course, is open to the public, and your input would be greatly appreciated there.
Got it.
And Councilman, I think that the results of that, we will be updating the EWDC committee. Yeah.
Perfect. Sounds good. Do we have a list of the target occupations currently that are being looked at the moment?
It's the entire list is being reviewed by the board.
Right.
There's some that are super high performing that they're going to focus on that greater enrollment task that we have at hand, and that entire list is being scrubbed and reviewed by the board as we speak.
Okay.
I think something that's really important to me, and I think we were talking about a little bit about it during the Education Opportunities Committee as well, is that focus on building out their education workforce as much as possible. Of course, easier said than done, right, as it all is. And if we're not seeing the kind of growth there, then it's always something that we take in consideration, right? If it's something we're aspiring to, but we're not seeing the growth there, we got to figure out what's going on there in general, not necessarily something that we have to figure out through Ready to Work fully. But it's something that's majorly important to me, because we hear it through childcare, right? We hear on the emphasis there about how do we make sure that we have really strong early childcare here in our city. It comes with the workforce component. Same thing with education all across the board, and we know that. We've talked about that before, you and I. And so I worry about if that's a program that's going to be phased out, or occupations going to be phased out, given its high importance as well. But I'm interested in just looking at the data, seeing what things were the barriers there. So if we can just stay up to date with that, my office and you all, to kind of just see where that's going, that's one of the big focuses I have on this particular point. But otherwise, I think we're doing a great job on this, and I absolutely understand, of course, making some efficiencies here to ensure that we're making this program as effective as possible. So let's just stay in touch, and I'll be very excited to see it come to EWDC and kind of back-end support as well before the 20th in January.
Thank you,
Mike.
Thank you.
Councilman McKee Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll be brief. Thank you and congratulations to those being appointed. We are absolutely grateful for your service. District 2 represents the largest share of participants, and I appreciate all the lives that are being changed through this program. I also appreciate very greatly you hearing me at the B session and eliminating the IWT program. I do look forward to us all working together for continued improvements so that lives can be tangibly and remarkably changed. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I think there were several calls for the elimination of that. Councilwoman Aldrete Gavito.
Thank you. I just wanted to quickly acknowledge the board members who are stepping up. This is hard work. You know, one of the things I would often tell Mayor Nierenberg is that, you know, this program, while it does have a lot of opportunities, is the first of its kind, and I appreciate the intent of trying to change just generational poverty. I mean, that is not an easy task. So I definitely want to thank the board members for all of their efforts, their time and dedication. You know, we all know what it's like serving on a board, and it is a lot of countless hours in the back end to make sure that this goes right. I also want to thank the partners for Ready to Work, because Ready to Work cannot be successful without you all and your contributions. So thank you for your willingness and all your efforts to make this program successful. I do want to acknowledge the folks who came and shared their personal stories. Thank you. That makes this meaningful for us. And I just want to also thank you all, Mike and team, for listening to the feedback. There's probably more feedback coming, but thank you for pivoting accordingly. That's an important piece of it. And those are all my comments. So I just want to again acknowledge the board members and their efforts. Thanks.
Have all council members who'd like to speak on this issue spoken? Okay. Thank you again to the board members in attendance. Thanks, Mike, to you and your team again for being quick in listening and implementing the feedback, as I think you hear this morning, rather, a real commitment to ensuring that we're doing all that we can to upskill, frankly, the most vulnerable in our community and put them on the path. Thank you. Okay. Something else? Okay. Okay. There being no further discussion, there's a motion and a second for approval of item number 3. Please vote. Okay. The motion carries. The next item is the city manager's report. Eric, over to you.
Yep, thank you, Mayor. 3 quick items. The first, I wanted to share with the council that our communications and engagement, and specifically our TVSA team, has recently been awarded 10 state awards, which was the highest number of awards we've ever received. San Antonio, as a city, competes in a budget category against other large Texas cities here for these efforts. I won't mention them all, but some of the issues or projects that resulted in the top place award, included how to pronounce street names, our pothole patrol coverage.
Please keep it down in the back. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. And a number of other arts and entertainment categories. So congratulations to the TVSA team. Every year we continue to capture more beach in terms of awards. Secondly, and I want to thank Councilwoman Castillo and Councilman Galvan, who participated with me and Dr. Jacob on our reaccreditation efforts with the Health Department. The Public Health Accreditation Board did announce that Metro Health.
Sorry, excuse me. Excuse me. Our meeting is still going on. If you'd please go out into the foyer. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. The Public Health Accreditation Board, FAB, which is a national nonprofit organization that evaluates public health departments. Pretty rigorous process from top to bottom in terms of policies, procedures, activities, services. It's a voluntary process, and the Metro Health initially received this accreditation status in 2019, and reaccreditation is every 5 years. So it was a huge lift for the department, and thank you, council members, for participating in the Q&A that we were interviewed by the accreditation board. Both from a management perspective, but both council members, Councilwoman Castillo, the prior chair of the council committee, and Councilman Galvan, the current chair, were able to lay out how Metro Health intersects with that council committee, and they did a very good job of laying out how the transition of power was occurring and no gaps within that. So thank you, council members, and frankly, it's another opportunity for us to reinforce the city's strong investment in work in that department. So congratulations to Dr. Jacob and the entire Metro Health team. Now, Dr. Jacob is also has been very active on that national board, and so continues to profile us broadly. And then lastly, our spotlight video. There are very few. Most employees only have one job, and Laura Slavin, who you'll see in the video, does have one job, but she takes on two responsibilities for us. She works in our IT department and does a whole lot of stuff. She's worked for the city for about 9 years, but she's also been very instrumental in her time with the city as being a foster for ACS, and she does a great job of doing both jobs, and certainly we're thankful for her volunteering for the work she does with ACS. So let's roll the video.
I work for ITSD. I'm an infrastructure and operations engineer. I like doing those little small projects that kind of help another department along. Recently had the opportunity to volunteer as a foster with ACS. They do a program a couple times a year where they reach out to employees to get them to foster dogs for their big events. The one that just happened was Dogtoberfest. 266 dogs got adopted at that event, and my foster's was one of them, and I was very excited to see her find her forever family. I've been fostering with ACS for several years now, and I've seen them go through process improvements, partially supported by our department, which is great to see that in effect in other departments and helping in the community to keep the animal population here safe and help families find their pet. They've gone through things like improving their wait list process for going to clinic services or picking up supplies for your foster. And they provide everything when you're foster, so it's a great opportunity to work with them, and I love doing that. One of the things that I've seen our department have an impact on recently is process improvement at ACS, and I've seen them implement a lot of things that IT's been able to help with that has made the fostering experience easier and more effective. I will be back next year, or maybe sooner, to foster with them again.
So, frankly, I want to thank Laura and the other city employees that participate in fostering animals for large events like Dogtober, and I want to thank them for their leadership. Thanks, Mayor.
Great. Thank you, Eric. I'd ask my council colleagues to remain seated while I take us into executive session. The time is now 11:04 a.m. on December 11th. The City Council of the City of San Antonio will now meet in executive session to consult with the City Attorney's Office pursuant to Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code and to deliberate or discuss the following items: economic development negotiations pursuant to Section 551.087, the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property pursuant to Section 551.072, and legal issues related to litigation involving the city, emergency preparedness, and collective bargaining, all pursuant to Section 551.071.